I've always wanted to look back on the restaurants that have life and story and color and maybe even some controversy and some success and maybe some dips in success. Like the story of the thing is probably the most important thing to me.
Definitely not someone to shy away from controversy. Jonathan Brooks is one of the most interesting and innovative chefs in Indianapolis today. After the unprecedented success of his first restaurant, Milktooth, he went on to create Beholder with his friend and sommelier, Josh Mazanowski. Welcome to Back of House, Episode 3, Beholder.
All right, Josh, what are we drinking and why? Let's start with this beauty right here.
Chardonnay. We went to Washington State. Chardonnay from a vineyard called Rainmaker from this area, Columbia Gorge. It's actually my buddy's winery, WT Vintners.
What's his name?
Jeff Lindsay Thorson.
Shameless plug right there. Well
Shameless
done.
plug. I know. And he's
You got any dirt on him?
the cool thing. Yeah, he gave me this scar right here. Actually,
Yeah.
We were hanging out one night and we got way too drunk on Calvados and wine, and I hit him because he said something. I don't know what he said. and he came back and just floored me and like opened up my eye. One of the USA's best sommeliers, Jeff Lindsay Thorson, knocked me out.
So
late night.
So is that how you got interested in wine? Were you literally beaten into submission? Or?
No, this guy, I just met him in a really nice restaurant in my mid-20s, and I didn't really know much about sommeliers, and he kind of showed me the ropes, and I was very interested in what he was doing, and the study aspect, the nerdiness, and the intrigue and of wine itself.
So how'd you meet this yahoo?
I remember very clearly how I met you because it was pretty cool.
He didn't punch you too, did he?
No, he's gotten close. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't. And I moved back from Seattle, and the cool thing is I knew where I wanted to work. There was one place, and it was Recess, which was Greg Hardesty's restaurant, a wonderful chef, the godfather of Indianapolis, fine cooking. And so I went there with a resume, and I had like a suit.
And a motherfucking 3-piece suit.
Which is like, that is not how Indianapolis rolls. Do not go to the interview in a suit
That
in
almost
Indianapolis.
didn't get you the interview,
Yeah,
to be honest.
But in Seattle, where I came from, hey, that was...
That's not true. You were very professional
Yeah,
and cool
that's-
and knew your shit, obviously.
And you were already in Greg's kitchen at the time.
Yeah, and I handed the resume to you, and
Yeah.
so, I mean, for coming back to Indianapolis and actually landing the one thing that I was like, yeah, I need to work here, was pretty special for me. And then it catapulted.
In the interim, you left Recess.
Yeah, I left Recess to open Milktooth,
Yep.
which was, wildly successful in
Can't
most
argue
people,
with that.
at least outwardly, and way more than I anticipated. I just wanted to open kind of a small little place my friends and the neighbors could come. And what was important to me at Milktooth was to hand opportunities to other people like I'd been handed them. So after 4 or 5 years of Milktooth being open, 4 years of Milktooth being open, there were people that needed to rise, and that meant I needed to step away and do something else, and I wanted to step away and do something else. Prove to myself maybe it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
And so when I wanted to open a nighttime dinner restaurant, called this guy.
So he was like your first thought right off the bat.
For sure, yeah. We
And where were
even
you
after
at
I.
the time still? I'm sorry, where were you at the time?
I was still at Recess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after I'd opened Milktooth, I'd gone and eaten at Recess and had been able to have Josh wait on me now that we hadn't worked together. And he just had such a laid back yet knowledgeable approach to, wine can be intimidating for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Food can be intimidating for a lot of people. And it was the kind of thing where like, this guy knows it all if you want to fucking plunge in, but he's not going to spew it in your face. And that's kind of the vibe.
Tell you as much as you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but we started kind of conceptualizing Beholder. I think initially it was a much more high-end thing. A month before we actually opened, we both kind of were like, is this the restaurant we really want to work at and want to be in every day? And I think we dialed things back to where we are now, to where there's highbrow, lowbrow, fun, pretty approachable food at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd agree. I remember coming when you guys first opened, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But, how many people in Indianapolis are going to, are you going to be able to reach?
Yeah.
And I love what you guys have done is you kind of have broadened your market.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly something I wouldn't say struggle with, but that we're aware of, is that, you want to be approachable to people, but yet at the same time, if you're pandering to people, your city never grows. It's not a lot of fun for the people that work here, for us. And so I think we strike a pretty good balance of that.
Let's talk a little bit pandemic. Obviously, it was hard on all cities, but particularly Indianapolis, I'm sure, and a lot of Indianapolis restaurants.
Pandemic was terrible, but I think there are some silver linings and a lot of bright sides in that we are more focused on doing what we want to do because we feel like we have a second chance. I mean, there were times last year where we were for sure the restaurant was going to close. Like, there was no light at the fucking end of the tunnel for a little while.
Yeah.
And we were able to...
Panic.
Yeah, there was panic. I mean, there was...
We drink a lot of wine.
Yeah. You have that stress every day of how to keep it open, where sometimes you almost wish that you would close the doors. But I think when you talk about our staff, like, you got to keep people paid. It would be, the biggest loss would be to lay people off. That's the hardest thing in the world. Yeah. And I think we're both pretty proud of the fact that everybody's still with us.
Good for you guys. We're definitely glad you made it. For sure.
On a lighter note. Yeah. What do we drink?
Yeah, what is the second? We got a smaller but equally potent glass of wine.
Yeah, the second wine, Riesling from Austria. Everyone thinks Riesling's always going to be sweet. If you're in Austria, 98%, you're going to be dry.
This is delicious.
But yes,
I feel like if you talk to sommeliers and chefs and you ask them about their desert island wines, Riesling's 90% of the time on there.
No. So I feel like you kind of tend to lean towards slightly lesser known vintages, or is that an accurate description? I mean,
I like to present things that you might not buy on a regular, that you might not see in your local wine shop. It's my job to kind of research, find, and promote the roads lesser traveled. But I don't necessarily want you to be drinking something that you could get off a shelf at Kroger.
So, which kind of brings us around. So, looking at the Indianapolis market, right? So we're steakhouse heavy, all right, which, there's a lot of big, bold California reds, the Orange Swifts, the Camus, that kind of stuff. That's, popular here, right? So how do you get past that? And from a food standpoint, how do you guys get past that and, bring that out to bring people into this?
Just with my food, at least, I want to be an example of being unique, putting yourself on the plate. Those are the restaurants I want to go to inspire other people to be bold and be individuals. And I think that people are here for it. We're fucking busy. People are here for it. And I think it's just a balancing act of where you make things approachable and yet you don't pander to people.
Now more than ever, we're getting guests understand if you want to drink Orange Swift or Cab, Napa Cab, the first time you come here, I have recommendations for you, and I have a strong California wine program. And then the second time you come here, it'll yeah, because we're gonna typically, if you come back, we have won you over in a way that is a breath of fresh air, and so when you come back, we have your trust.
Well, you're doing something right. 2020 James Beard finalist for Wine List.
Thank you.
Freaking amazing, dude.
That was an
nice,
honor.
gotta be. That's yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of hard work to get there, but it means you're doing something right. Talk to me about some of the challenges. So, you guys are in a neighborhood that's, quote unquote, transitional. So I think a lot of people question your judgment in building a restaurant here.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the location was just based on a lease that we could afford. Not much beyond that. I mean, Josh and I came at this restaurant independently. We don't have a lot of money, and we found a building and landlords that were willing to work with us. It's relatively very close to downtown. I mean, people, I think, in Indianapolis are not
1 mile.
necessarily used to
It's 1
walking.
mile.
When you live in Chicago, when you live in New York, you might walk 2-3 miles for your favorite restaurant, but we don't do it here in Indy. And so I do think one of the challenges has been for people to come see us. But other than that, I mean, we're right here. And I love this neighborhood. I live in this neighborhood. It's accessible. It's
Most
wonderful.
of our staff lives in this neighborhood.
For sure.
Because we didn't want outside investment. We didn't want somebody else who gave us a ton of money and then had a say in it.
Yeah.
Because that is annoying for any restaurant, especially a chef and a sommelier. And so we actually, I mean, I thought it's one of my proudest moments is that, we to the degree that we own this restaurant and we don't owe money to banks, but it is us. It's me and John. And then,
So for the critics who say, yeah, you should have been Mass Ave or downtown or even Fountain Square, you're like, kiss my ass. And this is what we could
You
afford.
guys
So
go
this
open
is
a
where we
restaurant.
built. This is where we built it.
Anywhere you open, people are going to criticize where you're at. This was the right choice for us. We try to be respectful of the neighborhood. We try to be involved in the neighborhood. We love this neighborhood. And there are great restaurants everywhere. We're literally 5 minutes from downtown.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's a short drive home for me. 504 outside. All right, 5 tasty ribeyes now. It's giving me 2 burgers, both with fries. Focaccia, lamb loin, pork wonton. Anybody else?
Anything you would have done different?
Nope. I'm not a regrets person. I love the story. I think for me, having restaurants that are not formulaic is the most important part of them. I've always wanted to look back on the restaurants that have life and story and color and maybe even some controversy and some success and maybe some dips in success. Like the story of the thing is probably the most important thing to me. So no regrets.
I wouldn't change anything.
We're still making new
I think you
regrets.
get smarter and you get smarter and better, and I think we are. I mean, I'm that type of person who's like, hey, I want our wine program to even get better, the floor to get better, the servers to be better and more knowledgeable, everyone to connect more. But really, that's probably more of an ebb and flow. The reality of that is like an ebb and flow. Mm-hmm. It's going to be great some nights it's off. We're doing a really good job.
Yeah. And I mean, surprises and evolution come from unexpected places. I would use a very recent example that we lost a cook and we promoted a dishwasher who's a super fucking hard dishwasher, like just 18-year-old kid.
Oh my God.
On the money every single day. And we're like, let's give him a shot prepping. Or we didn't even give him a shot. He would be washing dishes and then ask, what kind of prep jobs you got? What can I do? What
He
can
said
I see?
he just wanted to
What's
come
that?
and watch
What's
and-
this? And so he's now on the line with the seasoned guys every night, and he kills it.
He came in for 2 months and just watched and helped us learn how to prep and cut vegetables, and we showed him how. And at the end of that 2 months, he went from his dishwasher position to working on one of the best lines.
have 2 beet all day, 2 mushroom.
Yep. 1 and 3. 505. 505. These guys are doing the hard work. I'd only say that because we're on camera, though, right?
You got that on tape.
He only got it because we're on tape.
So you guys both worked with Greg Hardesty, obviously a big influence to both of you guys, big influence to Indianapolis cuisine as a whole. Without answering my own question, what did he mean to you guys, both as a friend, a mentor, a chef,
I
especially
think
with what he's going through right
Greg
now?
is a huge mentor towards both of us, and he's even still mentoring us now with how he's dealing with what he's going through, and we don't have to get too deep into that, but I mean, Greg, for me, was one of the most passionate chefs I've ever worked for. I mean, he lived and died every day on every detail of his food. Not necessarily, I mean, he's a very great technical chef, but not in the rigid way you might interpret me meaning that, but just in him being able to express himself and get his excitement on the plate and get other people to buy into that fucking excitement. Because that's what we're really doing. We're selling excitement. We're selling time with your friends. We're selling time with your family. And for that to be as exciting and fun and memorable as possible. And Greg, I think, exemplified that more than anybody else I've worked for. That's it.